Dear students, today we're going to discuss a selected candidate, recommended. We're going to identify what he had written there and what probably he had conveyed and why he got recommended. So I'm sure all of you will understand something out of this. And I'm sure that this will open your eyes to be yourself, unique, and to be relevant as per yourself. We always say that don't copy stories of others. We always say that you should create stories of your own self. Copy logic, copy common sense, but write things as per you. This is very important. Now, this boy, his name is Sanjeev, and his father has been a defense personnel working as a Subedar major, still serving. And of course, this boy has done his studies mainly from different part of the country, as his father was posted in different places. So the family was also living there, and thus they not only completed their studies along with him in different central schools, but he also has a very, I would say that a very multicolored personality, because he got the best of studies, he got the best of sports, best of the activities. So now let's evaluate what he had written there in the stories so that you can learn something out of it, that why he probably was recommended. We cannot be very specific that this is the only reason. Of course, it is all his overall performance, but getting an idea about his psychological presentation and thereafter his behavioral and the personality would help. Now this boy, as I have told you, has done studies from central school with good percentage. In 10th year picked up 95, in 12th year picked up 94.8%, 2% variation, no problems. And then in graduation, which he did, he got 89%, not a lot of variation. So that means he has been consistent in his studies. Is it clear? Okay. Now, along with this boy has been a very good sports person, thanks to his encouragement of the father as well as the central school aura. I have also been a student sometime in central schools because my father was also in the armed forces. So I really understand how you learn to play not only the game but also master the game. And you know, the more a person is a sports person, the more athletic the person is. And when a person is athletic, it is subtly learning two good qualities. One, mental stamina. Of course, physical stamina is the expression of the mental stamina. But along with it, the person is also learning cooperative participation, to play as a team. And more importantly, when the candidate is playing a team game, like this person has played basketball, and also Kho and other things in the central school, which is part and parcel of the school's curriculum. So I think this boy has a good team spirit. And when I evaluated the candidate, I found him very cooperative and very, good initiative, good active participation, and of course, cooperative. Now, coming to the point, after all these different games, we would also identify what was the hobbies which he had. He's got reading novels, PPT presentations, playing games, both outdoor and indoor games, plus photography. And there are other aspects also like quizzing. He loves to do quizzing. He has been part of different studies. Good. He's also been part of extracurricular activities in terms of house activities, little bit of drama, skit, and of course, magazine editing. So very good, very active boy. In addition, the person has been given responsibility, which is very natural. When you are active, you are disciplined, you are cooperative, you automatically pick up the different leadership roles. So this gentleman has not only been a class monitor for some time, but also has been vice house captain, later on been the head boy of the school. Wonderful. And in the college also, this boy has done very well to have been not only class representative, but also students committee head in the college, whichever he was studying. So this is the small, we call it curriculum vitae or we call it personal information questionnaire. It's just the same thing. Or you call it biodata. It means the same thing. Now, with this kind of personality, this boy, what he told as a report that he wrote different stories is one of the story where he saw a boy playing was about his basketball. He had said that in that story he had written that once there was a boy, he had gone for a match and he was supposed to represent the school in the basketball. He realized that he used to get exhausted after quick movement. So the coach advised to do a lot of practice. He also, with strong determination, did a lot of running so that he improves his physical stamina. And thereafter, the boy also realized that he needs to practice a lot of basketing so that from distance also he can basket. And being a a tall person, he was able to not only enhance that skill. So when they went for the games, they were able to sprung surprises on the others and they won the championship. Now, this small story seems very relevant, very simple, very clear, but also reflective of his biodata. Similarly, in one of the stories, he's written about two people talking, and he has written about that they're going for a cricket important championship, and this time they were playing at college level. And the opposite team was really good with batsmen as well as had good bowler. So initially, when they won the toss, they decided that they would first not only go for good bowling because they won the toss, so they went for bowling so that they can restrict the score. And to restrict the score, they decided to, as he had told, that they had decided to mix the bowlers so that they can disrupt the rhythm of the batsman, and thus they got the opening and the other batsman out early because of regular changes of bowlers and accuracy of bowling. And once their score was restricted, now with full concentration and dedication, they played, and being an all-rounder, the hero which he has created of the story, being an all-rounder, went on to play a good stable innings and complete the winning for the team. And thus they defeated a very strong rival in the final and became the college winners, not only of the region but also of the sub-zone where they were playing. Now the story is very simple, but it speaks of the experience, speaks of intelligence, speaks of the different application the candidate did. So it's a good story. Then this candidate is written about, there is a person looking at a painting. So he said, he's written a story, as I remember. He told that there is a person who's very good in photography. So he realized that there is always an exhibition in the school which is done time to time on the annual function day. So he also participated in it via the photographs which he had taken. He realized that in the photographs there should be a story. So whenever he used to take a photograph, he used to pick up where the message was becoming more clear. He had always appreciated the photographs which were taken very beautifully in good angles and in good timing, so that they are conveying like rising sun on the palm or having the plane in the between two fingers just because of timing. So he also tried the same trick, but this time he did this when there was a bird which was sitting on the flag, and when the flag fluttered, the bird also was fluttering the wings. So he has picked up that photograph. Then he picked up a family photograph, and he mixed these all up and presented a collage in the annual function. So he has written a story on the same, that he presented a good collage and he wrote different messages beneath every different photograph. So automatically the spectators liked the presentation. They also got the message he wanted to convey. Now, you know what is happening here? He has been able to not only do something sensible, but he has been able to correlate his experience, his positive experiences very well in the stories. And thus he has done two good things. Number one, he has had a thought flow. Number two, he has been unique in his answers. And number three, he has been original. So when you are original in your sense that you are thinking like you should, now how will you think? You should, who are you? You are what your pie data speaks about you. And this gentleman had written it. Now that doesn't become a strong law. As I've told you about the different ways to see the different stories or the pictures to create stories like positive action, negative action, neutral. This gentleman has also used the entire formulas. And while doing this, the person has always been in control of creating thoughts. See, when you use your wisdom, you automatically have thoughts in flow. They just follow through. You don't have to bother about it. And you are very confirmed that whatever you're speaking is sensible. So, in these stories 2, 3, 4, which I have told you, there are more to follow. Let me go ahead so that you can learn from them. This gentleman has written that there was once a boy, he was told to organize a quiz competition. So he decided that they should make it useful by putting in a lot of answers of the syllabus which they study. As he was in veterinary college, this gentleman is a veterinary student also. So this, as he being in the veterinary college, the boy, what he did was he picked up a lot of questions from every different sections which they may have in the next coming exams. And he mixed it up beautifully in the quiz. He also mixed up certain things of general awareness so that they can have a different shade to their quiz. He also added certain things about sports, which he was very fond of. And thus he made the quiz very, very involving and very, very interesting. And then when they went for the quiz competition, he created the two teams. And then he posed the questions differently to do both the teams. And then as per that, they scored. And finally, one was declared the winner. Even the losing team was very happy because they had scored quite well. Number one. Number two, the quiz was very useful because that helped them to clear the exams also good because it covered important details. Everybody thanked him. Now, look at what a natural and a good and sensible story the person has. Nothing dramatic, everything practical, everything original. This boy has written about a person who's a security in charge of a depot, and what he does is that he realizes that one day they have shortage of men. So as an initiative, the person, what he does, he not only ensures a proper checking of the main doors so that everything is closed from the proper gates, but to make sure that the security does not lapse, he makes not only patrols the area, but to keep things, he decides that from a distance also, they will go for the torch lighting. That means they will use lighting every now and then in both direction of the gates, which were in the front and back, by staying in the middle position. This way create a fear among any person who plans to come inside, so that they do not do so. And thus, by being vigilant, they are able to manage the security of both the gates and also the premises. Now, later on, next day, when they tell this to the officer realizes that this is a beautiful way they can do. So, a small tower was created in the middle portion, which could also handle this crisis if men are shot. So now look at the way he has written that story. It speaks of sensible nature, analysis, plus, as one can read out, it is a story of his father. His father is a security person. So he has picked up the idea from him. So that seems relevant. Now one more thing he has written, that once there was a boy, he has written for a person studying that he wanted to join the forces as his first choice. Unfortunately, he couldn't clear the ND exam because he was good in biology but poor in maths. But he realized that this cannot be the reason. he needs to carry on. So, as per father's advice, he joins the veterinary college to open the option of joining the veterinary corps of the armed forces. But along with it, while he is in the second year, third year itself, he started preparing for civil CDS exams and also the FCAT exams and also the different entries. Once the college authorities told them about NCC, so he joined there so that he can get an additional entry of NCC and thus secure the career opening in his favorite career. Now, this gentleman says that he went for his SSB and he gets recommended and finally joins the armed forces as an officer, and his family is very proud of him. Now, this story, as one can presume and one can read, is basically about a person's aspirations, about the person's ambition, about the person's inner thoughts, and positivity, of course, because that is talking about selection. So now I hope you're getting an idea slowly and gradually from the different pictures he saw and what he did. Now, similarly, he has also written a story on NCC camp where they went to some place nearby Mathura. This boy has been studying from there, and they went down to a village where they were supposed to organize a awareness campaign. So they had initially gone with posters and placards, but they realized that the local people are not aware of all this. So on the point, he immediately used the back portion of the placard and posters and wrote in their local language. Even they decided to decode their local language, their tone, and taking the help of a youngster of the village, they decided to communicate to the people in their style so that they are well received rather than as an alien. Beautiful, good idea. Because if you don't localize your expression, you will be less effective. So this gentleman realizes that the effective intelligence requires that the person localizes. So the person has done this, and thus he was able to make a very good impact on the village and convey the different messages of social awareness. He talks about sanitation, he talks about how to use the different manures and the high quality seeds. And now this 3-4 core areas they probably used in the social awareness was well covered. So hope you have understood. Now, in addition to this, he also has written a blank story where he has written about how their group together decided to create a organizing function, and they are talking about how they prepared the youth cultural festival of their college, and they did very well in by doing it, organizing it well, their group of friends, and how they divided. So he has written a story in the blank of organizing which he has done. So now look at the stories which he has done. He has reflected himself freely. You know, many of you copy stories from YouTube. Now, for example, you are hearing my stories, you're going to copy it. No, not right. You should write things on your own perspective. We are helping you. You can come to our certain areas within few days. We'll be having the psychological assessment exercise where we'll give you an opportunity that you can send your stories, and then we will evaluate how well you have written, and we'll give you alternative stories in the back. Though we would require a PIQ of yours also along with it. Of course, it is not only applicable to stories, it is also about VAT, it is also about SRT. Now let's go further for this candidate which I have told you. All the stories he did not remember, so some of the stories I have already told you. One story he was talking about the backwaters of Kerala, where he saw water, a lot of water bodies. So he wrote a story on backwaters, that once some tourist, while they were having a ride in the backwaters, they unfortunately one of the child fell. So immediately the boatman, who was an excellent swimmer, jumped immediately and he made sure that he saved. And he was quick in his reaction, though he was watchful before, but the place where he had fallen was very deep. And he saved the person and got them out. And the people were very touched. He thereafter made a change in the boat, and he created a small railings so that people don't sit in the very edge and never fall. Now, this kind of story which is written shows of its compassion, so shows of its heroism, shows of its responsibility and naturality, because this boy has lived quite number of years in Kerala and Kunur. Now, this is about the story. In the VAT also he has written some VAT on game. He has written about basketball. Basketball is a very good effective game for stamina and skill. In one of the father, he has written my father is working as a security personnel in the DSC Corps. He's written that. Then he's written about that never, 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 never give up. Well, that's a good word because he's shown about his determination. Then he's written about how team cooperation multiplies the team efficiency. Good. In the VAT, he has written that. Then he has written about that how determination is always effective in getting the results. Again, he has said that. Then he has talked about the pride of uniform. That means he really wants to be in the armed forces. Then he has written very favorably of his father, that his father is his real life hero. So that means he's been inspired by them. Then he has also written about Sam Manekshaw, the field marshal. In one of the VAT, he has written field was the word, and he has written Field Marshal Manekshaw was an outstanding icon. So I think he is inspired. And let me tell you, he was asked in the interview about the same, and he gave very good details about not only the late field marshal but also why he likes the person as a personality. So see what he has done. He has not only conveyed well in terms of psychology stories but also in VAT and in SRTs. He's shown the maturity of adapting to different conditions. He's shown that how cooperation is important, how in the SRTs also he's written how intelligence helps. Everything has fallen into place. I remember in his SRTs he was quick in writing and he had a very easy and natural way of writing, where he wrote the different answers but with a good analytical mind. Now, we don't want you to learn things, we want you to understand them. I want to repeat a small formula in front of you. Remember, dear students, we don't want you to become my follower. I at least don't want. I don't want you to become my follower. I want you to be my student. Now, what do you mean by a difference between follower and student? In a follower, you're going to follow me dot to dot. No, I don't want that. I want you to be students so that you can understand the common sense, the logic, and thereafter you can create your own answers. The moment you do that, the automatic part is like Sanjay Kumar here, you are able to reflect yourself and get recommended. Now, I won't be there with you. So you won't be calling me every now and then and asking me things. But you got to get comfortable with yourself. I agree that in the present times, with so many YouTube channels coming up with different kind of stories, you tend to get confused and you think that what a recommended candidate did I have to do. No. He did as per the logic of that situation. So do that. Now, in addition, this boy also did very well in group discussion. He not only took initiative, but he also cooperated with people and he was able to come up with a good discussion. He was able to create consensus in his group. There was a little fighting, but he intervened, as he told me. He intervened and he sort of got the consensus together. He rather at one point of time agreed to their point logically and compromised on his statistics and detail, but the idea was that he created the consensus which was overall logical. Then he has written about the group planning. What he had done was that in the group planning he had worked as a team with regular inputs. Even after writing, he had some new ideas. He spoke, he cooperated, he made the consensus together. Thereafter, in the progressive group tasks also he came up with ideas, but he worked as a team more than trying to showcase himself as an idea generator. He was more a cooperative participant. That is very important, which you all people should learn. Next, after the progressive group tasks, which were 4 of them, he never became, he was always attached, always focused in his participation, and slowly, gradually, by the fourth task, he was able to get the appreciation of all because he was appreciative of all. Very good line, very good point to understand. Then, in the individual obstacle task, this boy, uh, in one or two, he had some problems. He slipped in one of the rope, but he went back with all the determination, all the power to show his dedication, his determination to achieve it. Good. He did not do all the 10. He did 8, I guess. Yes, 8 he did. And out of the 8 he did, he repeated 1 or 2. But nevertheless, that doesn't make a difference. He was good. He did very well. But in 1 or 2, he missed because of time. And because of his trying to get back to things. Never mind. Doesn't make a difference. Then in obstacle race, he bothered with that group. He helped them. He not only led, but he also contributed, he cooperated, and as a team he participated. He said, sir, I followed the rules which I do in basketball, working as a team, not as a single front runner, but getting the team together. Good point. Then in individual command tasks, he not only was called by three people, but also this gentleman was able to get not only the ideas, but once the officer removed few structures or barred few structures, he was able to come up with new ideas. Good. Last but not the least, in the final group task, he was taken as the most cooperative and the group was understanding. Now in individual command task, one point I missed, he was called by people thrice, and while he called the team, he was also able to do well. In the interview, he was asked all these different questions, right from Kerala, about his stay in Kerala, about what he likes about Kerala, what he did not like about Kerala. In case he becomes the Chief Minister of Kerala, what is he going to do? What does he think is the problem right now in Kerala? How is it affected by the influence of people from Dubai or other places? He was asked on this. What can be done to improve the security in case there is a problem in Kerala? Then he was also asked on why he wants to join the armed forces. He said that, of course, this is one of the things which will make my father proud. Plus, I had an idea, I had a desire, but unfortunately, he could not clear the NDA. He's a bio student in 11th and 12th, so he probably took an extra effort to clear the maths, but he couldn't do that to that level, so he could not clear it. Nevertheless, but this is very immediately after his college, he is going for the first time and he got recommended. Once, I guess, he has given one of the, before that he has given one, I'm sorry, I would like to correct, he had given one NCC entry, but he had missed, it got screened out. So they asked him what was the reason. So he said that I could not speak up and there was a lot of infighting, and in the process, I went down and tried to keep shut, and in once or twice I tried to shout, but that was too loud, and finally I was not screened in. Nevertheless, that happens. So I asked him what did he do as a preparation, and what they would also ask. They did ask the same question. They asked him what you did after this. He said, I joined a communication workshop near my college so that I can prepare it. Of course, what is he presently doing? He's preparing for his postgraduate, because that is also one thing which he wants to keep the feather, one more feather in the cap, so that he keeps rolling. He was asked, then why did you join veterinary? He says that, sir, this is something which my father advised, that this is unique field and very applicable. Worst come worst scenario, with the agricultural sector opening up, there would be huge opportunities, so he'll always have a job in hand. I think good innovative thoughts. So now I hope with this session of this recommended candidate, you would understand how he projected his personality and how he presented himself not only in psycho, and he did not actually plan it strategically, it was natural. And that is the naturality we want from all of you. We want you to be in your rhythm. Don't get misdirected by copying stories or copying ideas, but you should copy the logic, the common sense, and break through the myths. A lot of people have wrong myths. Armed forces people will do this, armed forces. No, armed forces are, people are supposed to be. If you want to be an officer in armed forces, you have to be more sensible, because you're not responsible only for yourself, but you're also responsible for the troops you lead. So I hope you've understood this. I'll keep discussing the candidates who've got selected so that you can learn something from them and get an idea and break through this cloud which surrounds you. And many of you who are particularly located in central cities and are having a lot of these workshops coming up every day with half cooked ideas, please stay away from them. Yes, you can certainly avail the help of certain officers, but you should use your filter, your common sense. That applies also to me. If I am saying something, you don't have to copy me as a follower. As I've told you, you should use your common sense and logic and be a student so that you learn, and thereon you innovate and become certainly better than me, and rather much better than me. God bless you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.